Welcome to the Insomnia Project. Sit back, relax, and listen as we have a conversation about the mundane, or a calm conversation is what I like to say. One thing we can promise is that our conversation will be, hopefully, less than fascinating so that you can just drift off. I always say that in front of my guests and they look at me like, what are you asking me? I want to thank you for joining us and listening, and we hope you will listen and sleep. I'm your host, Marco Timpano, and joining me is Dove Mickelson. Did I get that right?
Yes.
That's how you say it?
No, I say Dove Mickelson.
Dove Mickelson. Did I get that right?
Close, yeah.
I feel like I said it. I feel like I did it.
You practiced it. You said it perfect before we recorded.
And then I just messed it up.
It's all good.
I apologize.
No, it's fine. It honestly, most people, when I try to explain my name, because it's a Hebrew name that means bear, that if I don't, it honestly takes like a 20-minute vowel lesson because the vowel doesn't exist in English.
Okay, so what is the vowel?
Well, again, it's not a vowel in English. It's
okay. Oh.
Dove, like
dove.
In the word muzzle, tov.
Dove.
Rhymes, yeah. Dove.
Is that right? Dove?
Yeah.
Is that close?
Yeah, it's close.
Because I studied linguistics. So
yeah.
if knowing that.
Yeah, now you can do it.
Dove.
I studied linguistics.
Did you really?
Yeah, we could talk about linguistics.
Where did you study linguistics?
Well, I used to be a teacher, actually, before I was an actor.
I didn't know that.
Life. Yeah, I taught for 4.5 years. I graduated in 1991 with an education degree and taught. And then I left it all to become an actor.
What did you teach?
I specialized in language and learning difficulties.
Oh my goodness!
But I've also always been fascinated with language and word origins and etymology.
That's my fascination too. This is so
great.
Funny. I didn't know that about you.
Oh, yeah.
So if there was a language,
yeah,
you could speak that you don't already speak, what language would that be and why?
Oh, that's good.
I'll tell you mine while you think about yours.
Well, I know mine. But
you do?
But
okay.
I'd love to hear yours.
So I'm fluent in Italian, and I love Italian.
Yes.
It's very vowel-oriented, so your mouth is often open and big. So I love Czech because of their conservative nature with their vowels. Right. They have a lot of words that have very few vowels.
Yes.
So if I could learn another language,
right,
I would want to learn Czech because I get puzzled by some of their words in a very curious way, and I love the sound of the language because there's less vowels to my ear.
Yes.
Because I'm used to romance vowels.
Sure. And I'd love to learn Italian. In fact, because I worked in an Italian restaurant for so long, people always thought I was Italian because of my accent. But I don't know it. I really am just unilingual, although I have a little bit of Hebrew and a little bit of French.
Okay.
I wish I could speak all of them better because I have probably about a grade 3 level speaking ability in those languages. However, I think the language that intrigues me most is Russian.
Okay.
I'd love to learn Russian.
Yeah.
I know a few, sentences in it, like "Здравствуйте," how are you doing?
Right.
But it's one also like I've tried to make sense of it when I look at it, and I know it follows all the rules, but for some reason my brain cannot negotiate that, and so I've never been able to learn it in depth.
What's your favorite word? I'll tell you in any language. In any language. I'll tell you my favorite word in English and in Italian.
Okay.
So my favorite word in English is ginger. Because I like the way it feels to make those two sounds on the lips. Good. Ginger. Like it gives you like you get it at the start of the word and in the middle of the word. You get this interesting, you make an interesting face and it has an interesting feel in the mouth. And in Italian, I like the word aiuole, which means aiuole.
Yeah.
Flower beds.
Flower beds.
It's a word that has every vowel in it.
Yeah.
So it's A-U-E-L-O. Did I get them all? A-I-E-I-O-O-L-O. Aiuole. Yeah, I got to write it down. I don't know why. I'm actually physically writing it in the air when I have a pen and paper.
It's great. My favorite word is baba ganoush.
Oh.
Just because I love what it does in your mouth as you say it, baba ganoush, and it sounds so cute. Baba ganoush.
It's very tasty.
And I love baba ganoush itself. And so, I remember my dad actually used to make it at home. It was one of his specialties. It's so garlicky and eggplant. For those of you who don't know, it's an eggplant dish with some spices. It's probably Mediterranean in origin, I believe.
Middle East. I always thought Middle Eastern, sort of where Europe and the Middle East kind of meet.
Yeah, I think it is
Greece,
like
Turkey.
I think it's Greek, Turkey, Israel. Any part of the Middle East it has. But it's a great word.
It's a great word. It's a versatile dish.
Yes.
And if you haven't had it or said it, I implore you to do both.
But followed closely by also another dish from that area, shakshuka, which is like an egg tomato breakfast dish that is quite amazing.
If you haven't had shakshuka, did I say it right?
Yeah.
For breakfast,
Yeah.
you need to seek it out. And I find that dish, there's versions of it in many different cultural. People from Mexico will have a dish that is like, that we're used to, that called. What is it called? Like
ranchero?
Huevos rancheros. So it's like a tomato, eggs in a tomato sauce of some sort with other ingredients, of course. But it's such a great breakfast dish.
Yeah, it's very good.
It's a great anytime dish, to be quite honest with you.
Yes.
Yeah. Great word, great dish. Oh, my goodness.
You.
Now I'm getting hungry.
I know. I haven't had breakfast, by the way.
Oh, no.
It's good.
What's your preferred breakfast?
Is this an appropriate question this morning? No.
Sure.
My preferred breakfast?
Your everyday breakfast. So for me, it's always a coffee and maybe a cookie.
I have to have a coffee in the morning or I can't function. I try to get off of that.
Sure.
But I'm back on.
Okay.
Although I do love a tea every now and then because I have British roots from my mom. So I was always a kid. We would drink tea with a lot of milk in it. But
that's how the Russians drink it too.
Yeah.
Very milky and very sweet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my go-to breakfast is a piece of toast.
Okay.
Often with a little almond butter on it.
Sure.
Sometimes just with butter on it.
Where do you stand on jams?
Now, interesting that you asked that because I'm a huge jam fan.
Okay.
I have a lot of jams in my home. However, probably in the last few years, I use it less and less. I'll just have a peanut butter on the toast. But I do love a good jam on the toast.
Sure.
And I was just visiting my dad. He always has marmalade on his toast and apricot jams. And I really started to love apricot and wild blueberry jams.
Yum.
So good jam. I stand very firmly and supportively on them.
It's great. Peanut butter on your toast.
Yeah.
Drizzle a little bit of honey on that. And it's the end of the world.
Yeah, I agree.
love it,
I agree. I will say, though, and this is probably just in the last 2 decades of my 5 decades on this earth, that I have to have chunky peanut butter. I cannot go back to smooth.
Okay.
Not that I have anything against smooth.
Sure, it's
but
just not your thing anymore.
I love tasting the chunky peanut butter.
A little crunch, make your teeth work a little bit.
Is any of this inappropriate for what we're supposed to be talking about?
No, this
for
is
our
great.
Radio?
This is great. Listen, some people may be
Some
listening.
people are asleep already. I've put
Hopefully.
them to sleep talking about
Hopefully.
my peanut butter preferences.
You've got a great baritone voice. You've got a great resonance
You're
to
not
your
so
voice.
bad yourself, thank you.
If people are listening, they might be hungry. They might be like, I can't sleep because I'm thinking of food. So I'll just take a
Let's
left turn.
move away from food.
And let's talk about the guitar.
Oh,
which is a passion or a hobby of yours, correct?
Yeah, I would say.
How did you get into playing the guitar?
It was one of those things. I spent most of my childhood at a summer camp and then became a counselor at a camp. So probably like 13 or 14 summers spent at this summer camp in Alberta where I grew up. And, we would have so many nights sitting around a campfire. Guys would be playing guitar, the standard. You'd heard every Neil Young and Bob Dylan song. And, so it was always kind of like this dream from a little kid of mine to play. And then, of course, I'm a huge music fan. I love going to live music. I love great guitarists. And I would say I probably lean towards the Bob Dylan, Leonard Cohen, Paul Simon, and Garfunkel school of, those are some of my favorites, my big three. And so I always wanted to learn to play some of those songs. So I'm certainly not a virtuoso on the guitar. I'm a hack. I think when I was like 17 or 18, I bought my first guitar. I started late. I started 16, 17. I started trying to figure it out. Okay. And then I think 18, I went for guitar lessons and bought my first guitar. I still have that guitar to this day.
Great.
But I stopped out. I didn't do a lot of lessons. I learned enough so that I could learn some basic chords. I certainly can't solo, like do an amazing guitar solo like
Sure.
I have some friends, but I can certainly it helps relax me. I sometimes write songs, and I certainly play all my favorites and try to learn songs.
When you write songs, do you write as you play, or do you write and then play?
Interesting. It happens, I would say, usually I'm just kind of like often, because I do some writing so that I've written some words down that I try to put to music, but other times it can just happen the other way, where I'm playing and then the words come,
great.
so out of a like a chord progression.
Mm-hmm. If you were to give advice to someone like myself who's never really played the guitar, but who's interested in doing so, what would the advice be?
Well, we live in an amazing age now. Like when I was starting, it wasn't like you had to have like a VHS tapes or something to learn some, or I had physically, I still have some of them, although I recently just gave them away in a move. I had boxes and boxes of like songbooks that had all the chords written down.
Sure.
But now you have apps on your phone. It has every song you could ever want, and it goes through as you're playing, and there's all these amazing programs like Guitar Chord and all these things. You can play almost any song, past or present. And sorry to
please.
I was just going to say, so that all this opportunity, my advice would be go online, find a song you like, borrow a friend's guitar. You don't have to buy a guitar. You can rent it. You can borrow it, and you can literally you teach yourself from. There's so many videos out there that you can just find one that you connect to.
See, I love this advice because I want to learn to play a song that I like and not have to go through all the business of learning chords first and then repetitive action. I'll get to that, but teach me a song that I really enjoy playing, and you'll catch me quicker, I think.
I would say try to find a song that you enjoy, but that is like a 2-chord song, or a very simple one, so that it's not as difficult. And there's like some standard ones that are just great to learn, and you'll be fun at a party.
Favorite song of yours to play?
Well, I go through phases for sure. I'm currently on one that is my favorite right now, by Mark Knopfler, band in Dire Straits, and there's a song called Romeo and Juliet. That was always my favorite, and played at summer camp all the time, and I've always wanted to learn it, and I just recently have been playing it, so it's kind of taken me back. I'm having a little nostalgia time playing the song, but there's also... I'm a huge Bob Dylan fan, so I would say there's like about 2 or 3 in that I play all the time.
I want to learn to play Who by Fire by Leonard Cohen.
I could teach you.
Oh, really?
Too bad I don't have a guitar here.
I have one in the other room.
Well, we'll play.
Oh my God. Is that a difficult song to?
It's not as difficult.
Okay.
No, it's actually a pretty standard progression. You could do it.
Wow.
We're gonna have you play that.
Yeah. Imagine that. I learned the guitar based on this episode.
That's
and then
fantastic.
Has the guitar, the ability to play the guitar, ever helped you in your other lives, like as an actor, for example?
Yeah, certainly. Like even actually the last show I did, we had to come up, and I'm not a musical theater person, and I didn't want to talk about acting.
Sorry.
But, no, I'm just joking. But you had said, like, you always talk about acting.
I have a lot of friends who are actors, so
that's how we know each other, through acting, yes.
We do business acting together. We're usually in suits and
that's
ties.
That's right. I'm playing a professor. Sorry, wait, go back. What was I lost my...
You said
so
musical theater.
I had to do... I'm not a musical theater person, but I was doing this audition, and we had to prepare a song, and I came in with my guitar that I had prepared the song on guitar, but they loved kind of what I did with it, and that it got me that song that I sang got me the job. So that felt like, years of playing and noodling around on my guitar actually kind of like was applied to my actual career.
Cool.
So that was great.
Can you string your own guitar?
I can. But interesting, I was just at a guitar store yesterday looking at some new guitars because I just wanted to just sometimes it's like a private pleasure of just, if you're in another city or anywhere, just going to a guitar shop. And if you don't have your guitar with you, if I don't travel with my guitar, I just go into a guitar shop and just like sit around and play.
And they'll let you do that, generally speaking, without a problem.
Oh, yeah. There's always guys noodling like me. And there used to be, geez, I'm blanking on the name. There used to be this amazing guitar shop on Queen Street.
Not Steve's.
No. It was a real tiny one just right across from Trinity Bellwoods Park.
Okay.
Oh, my God. I can't remember the name of it. But it was tiny, and you would like squeeze through. Was it near the Japanese
paper store?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there was a pillow store there?
I don't remember the pillow store. But that's right. Oh, my pillow's making me sleepy. I want to go to sleep thinking about pillow store. But you would go in, and they had all these cowboy shirts on the wall, and I collected cowboy shirts. And then also they had these great like vintage guitars, like a seriously like a 1940s guitar, or like they would have like a $6,000 like steel guitar that you could just pick up and play and try out. And it was like, some sounds that came out of those instruments were pretty amazing. Like there's a real like fine art, and I have a friend that makes his own guitars.
Really?
It's pretty neat.
Has your friend ever made you a guitar?
No,
we should call your friend.
Maybe we should ask them to listen to this podcast if they're not asleep, and
if they get this far,
get the idea and make a guitar for me.
That'd be nice. Your own personal guitar, a bespoke guitar for yourself.
Well, I think a lot of the big musicians like get that from like the big rock stars. Like we'll get the company or a guy that makes handmade guitars will make it for certain people.
In the event that your friend is listening,
yes.
What would you want on your bespoke guitar? I'll tell you, if I had a bespoke guitar, I'd want the part that you hold the most kind of worked so that it kind of fits my hand snugly. So it has like my signature kind of like
that was
grip.
The thing, I was just trying guitars yesterday, and I was like, some of them, the neck is like too big, and I've, my hands are kind of normal sized hands, but they're a little like thicker and maybe harder to get around, like just a really wide. So I like a narrow neck on the guitar to get my hand around and really feel comfortable. It's like so personal. And you want one that's a little more ergonomically friendly for you, and for your grip, because it's actually, especially when you're first learning, it's a real workout for your hands, and you build up calluses and all of that. So you want something that's comfortable. So I like one with a little smaller neck.
Do you use a guitar pick?
So I hope they're listening and make it with a smaller neck.
I
do
ergonomical.
I do use both pick and no pick, but lately I use a pick less. I like just kind of plucking with my fingers.
What's the advantage? I never understood the advantage or the reason one would use a pick over just using your fingers. Like I don't clearly I don't play the guitar, but I just love to get a little insight on that.
Well, it's certainly easier on your fingers to pick. You can be more precise because again, it's just way narrower a pick. So if you're trying to like get individual notes and really explore with that, also the sound is a little different. So it's a little more muted with your fingers. So maybe the song you're singing or your voice, you want the guitar a little less, so you might use your fingers to do some strumming then. It's an overall quality and sound, I believe, but certainly, again, I'm more of a hacker on the guitar than an expert, so like a real performer could tell you what they prefer about picks. I love collecting picks and just finding them, or I have a David Bowie pick from they had this David Bowie art at the art gallery, big, I don't know if you saw the big
no, but I remember when
Bowie
it was
thing.
in town.
But so they had these like pics with a great picture of David Bowie from Ziggy Stardust on it. So
I have the Rolling Stones guitar pick. Oh, that's because when they were in town for TIFF, I was asked to be their cappuccino chef.
Oh my gosh!
And so
I'd love to be a cappuccino chef.
It was crazy.
But now you're talking about food again. We're going to make people hungry.
Always circle back to something.
But
like
they're
that.
asleep.
Yeah. And so they gave me some of their picks.
Oh.
But I'm not a huge Rolling Stones fan. Okay. I like them enough. But
you're a Beatles, because that's the question they always ask: Beatles or Rolling Stones?
I'm much more
Beatles.
Yeah, Beatles.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Very astute.
Oh.
Very astute.
It's one or the other, right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Have you ever been to Nashville or the Country Music Hall of Fame?
I have not. I'd love to go.
Or the country music. What's it called? The
Grand Ole Opry.
No, yes, but they also have the museum. What's it called?
No, I think it's the Country Music Hall of Fame.
Okay,
I think it is.
Fair enough. I thought I blanked there for a second. I said, am I sending you to the wrong place?
Right.
It's wonderful.
You've been?
I've been
to Nashville, yeah.
Nashville for a musician.
Did you go to hear music there? Like, did
No,
you
my
see a lot?
in-laws lived in Murfreesboro, but I'm
okay.
a big fan of country music.
Yeah, okay.
I love.
Who's your favorite?
It's a great question. So I'm a huge Dolly fan.
How can you not be?
And if you listen to an episode that I did, with
Life
Jenny,
is like a butterfly, as soft and gentle as a sigh. Yeah.
and she's a great songwriter.
Yeah.
Great. I find country music. What I love about country music, especially old school country music artists, Willie Nelson,
Willie,
Loretta Lynn.
there's a few songs of Willie that I learned on guitar that I love, that are just in my repertoire.
Yeah, they can convey so much in very simple ways, and they don't rely on a lot of dramatic instrumentation to get their.
Oh my God, Johnny Cash! I'm sorry I didn't mention him. He's one of my big. I named big three. I didn't name big four.
Sure,
because Johnny's there.
You would probably love Nashville then.
Oh, I know.
It's a great city.
I would. And I actually do have a few musician friends that that's for them as a singer-songwriter when they go there to Nashville to record or to play.
Sure.
That's the peak, the epitome for singer-songwriters that I know. Country music or not country music.
One thing that struck me when I was in Tennessee, which is one of, if not my favorite state in the U.S.
Really?
I love Tennessee.
Wow. Okay.
I love Kentucky too.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my heart is kind of half in Kentucky and half in Tennessee.
Yes.
But we went to Memphis and we went to Sun Records.
Right, sure.
And one of the great things about it is you get to